Today we are going to be making a collage, which is part of the new Botanical Arts division that is part of a flower show. And a collage in this instance is an abstract design, which simply means that the items that you place into your collage are not placed in a representational way. So you wouldn't be making a bouquet of flowers, or you wouldn't make a sunshine and a sky and a tree and put it with a background and a foreground. It's just that your items your design items that you put into your collage represent the different elements of your collage. And remember, our collage this week is April showers bring May flowers. So I just wanted you to see some of the materials that you probably have around your house that you might perhaps use for your collage. So I have buttons. I have wrapping paper. The silver polka dot and blue paper is wrapping paper. I have a variety of ribbons. I have some old greeting cards that if I were to use a greeting card, I would use them for the color, not for the flamingo that you might see in that one picture in the front. I have aluminum foil, wax paper, and then I have the flowers that I'm going to be using. In this case, I am using live flowers because I just picked them out of my yard. But for our collage, you do have to have, for the Botanical Arts section, you do have to have live plant material. You would not have live plants in it. They would have to be pressed or dried in some fashion so that they would last for the entire show. I also have glue, and I also have scissors. So we're going to begin by assembling the collage. And I've been playing around with my idea for a while. And when I first started out, I had a blue background, and after I worked on it a little bit, I didn't like that very much. So I disbanded that idea, and I went with a black background. Now you can use tag board, you can use Xerox paper, whatever you happen to have at hand. And let's say that our collages for this show are going to have to be 9.5 by 11, which is a regular size Xerox piece of paper. So then I took some other paper that I had, and I also had some copy paper that was in colors. And one of the things you can do with paper besides cut it, we all know that you can cut paper, but the other thing that you can do with paper is you can tear it. And I liked that look because I thought it represented more of a cloudy look. So I've already done that on my paper. So I took this color blue that I happen to have. And again, this is just colored Xerox paper. And I'm laying it out onto my black background. And I want some of the black to go because when I think of a rainy day, I think of the skies being really dark. And so I'm overlapping those just a little bit. And already I have started a rhythm in my collage by kind of going like a zigzag pattern. Then I thought, well, maybe I don't want it to be quite so bold. So I took some wax paper and I cut that out. And I also tried overlapping that. And I liked the way that that looked, so I'm going to keep that. Because I think that adds to the cloudy look. And I have played around with this a couple of different times, so I've got this one piece cut. I'm not crazy about where it goes. So I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and cut that piece shorter. Now the great thing about a collage is that if you don't like the way you have things arranged, you can just simply take it apart and put it back together again in another way. So as I said, I started off with a blue background to begin with, and I didn't like that once I had done that. So I went back and changed it completely from what I had originally. The other thing about a collage is that you can lay your pieces out and then you can rearrange them the way that you think that you like them. For example, this one maybe I like better going in this direction. It's really up to you and your eye. I think I liked it better than going this way, so I'm going to lay it down like that. And then I'm going to take my wax paper. Again, I'm kind of thinking of that rainy, showery day in April, and we certainly have had those. Then I wanted something that I wanted to use for my rain, and I happened to find a piece of this silver ribbon, but I think aluminum foil would work nicely. Maybe this polka dotted paper, or maybe even that blue paper that I had that I didn't use. But I'm going to take the ribbons and I'm going to use those for my rain. And I've already cut them. As you can see, I took this rectangular shape and I just cut wavy lines because I personally liked that. Again, I'm still trying to keep some kind of a pattern going, or a design element, so I've repeated my blue, I've repeated my wax paper, I've repeated my wavy lines not only in my background but in my rain. So I'm trying to keep some elements that are going that repeat themselves. And as you also will see, I've kind of divided this into thirds. Odd numbers always work nicely for things. Now, if I'd already glued this down, I wouldn't be able to do something like this, like stick the ribbon underneath the blue. So if I liked that idea, I might be able to incorporate that someplace else, maybe like under this piece of wax paper, just to be a little bit more subtle. Then I needed some plant material, and I didn't have any green paper, but I did have an old greeting card. And so I took the back of the greeting card and I cut it and used it for the greenery that I wanted to incorporate into for my Mayflowers. Now, another thing you might notice is that my collage in a lot of ways is touching the sides of my board, so I don't have everything cramped in the middle. This isn't a necessary thing, but I think it adds to a little bit of the continuity of it. And then I just took some white tissue paper that comes with packages at the holidays, and I ripped it up, because I wanted to make a little bit more of a three-dimensional look, and I can crunch that up. And then if I didn't like the rain maybe showing, the ends of the rain showing, I could glue that down onto there. And again, I'm going to kind of repeat those clouds in my collage. And so I don't have a foreground, middle ground, and background, because remember, our design has to be abstract. So for some of you, you might think, well, what, you got a cloud down at the sky, or down at the ground? Now I'm going to turn this around so you can see it. But again, I'm trying to create a little bit of a rhythm, and I'm also trying to do a little bit of remember, it has to be abstract, so I don't want a ground. That's why this is up here, and there's flowers in different parts. So now that I know that I have that pretty well the way I want it to be, probably your next question is, well, how are you going to remember where everything goes? Well, the three clouds, that doesn't matter too much to me, but these pieces, they do matter. So one of the ideas is that you can use regular Elmer's glue. I've got some glue in here that I could apply with a brush if I want to do it that way, and sometimes that works nicely. Just remember to wash your brush out. So I'm going to start with the things that I have on the top. For example, this piece of wax paper right here is on the top. So I'm just going to slide some glue along this edge and glue that down. And then I know that this plant is another item that is pretty much right on top. So I didn't take my whole collage apart. I'm just lifting up my pieces and placing them back down. And as I go along, I just keep continually doing that. So if I want this to be pretty much where it is, I'm just putting some glue on it just to hold it in place for right now. Now there's nothing in the directions for the art show that says that things can't be three-dimensional. So if you want something to pop up, I don't know why you couldn't, but I don't want it to pop up today. So I'm going to just lay that flat. Okay, so now let's pretend that I have that all glued down, which of course I don't, but we're going to pretend that it is all glued. And I am going to put some glue on these clouds. Never put your glue right on your collage. Put it on the materials that you are sticking down, because you never know what the distance is and what the how much space you need. So put your glue on the item that you're sticking down. And with the tissue paper, you can make that just about do anything you want it to do. And then we're going to add one more white tissue paper cloud. Remember, I don't have everything totally glued down, but that's okay for what our demonstration purposes are. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some flowers. So I happen to have pansies in my yard, so now I want to decide where I want them. I don't want it to look too realistic, remember, so I have to scatter them kind of around to represent the Mayflowers. And remember, I talked about that zigzag earlier. I've even started to do that a little bit with the pansies as well, kind of in a zigzag way. And maybe because I have it, maybe I will add some lilacs in here as well. One reason I don't want to put it up here by this plant is because I don't want it to look like a plant growing there, because that would be, to me, would be too realistic. And I think this purple is adding an element of also a way for your eye to go from one point to another, so that my eye is kind of going back and forth and around, a little bit still like that zigzag. Okay, there is my collage. And the last thing that you have to do is you have to create a card with the names of the plants that you used. So I have, oops, I didn't use a viola. I guess I could go get one. But I found the scientific name for pansy and the scientific name for the French lilac, and I put that there, and then in parentheses I put the common name. And that would go beside your exhibit as well. And that is how you do an abstract collage for a botanical arts division.